from the University of the Philippines. I'm Professor Andres Voltes, coordinator of the Master's Program in Asian Studies here at the Institute. We warmly welcome you to this event where we will share the documentary Pag-Asa, Pag-Asa Island, A Journey to the Sea, followed by a space for dialogue and reflection on its content. Thank you very much. Russell?
Buenos dias. Thank you for attending today's screening of the GMA Public Affairs documentary Pag-Asa, presented as part of the Philippine Embassy in Chile's Maritime Archipelagic Nation Awareness Month activities. Quisiera expresar a mi más sincero agradecimiento al Instituto de Estudios Internacionales de la Universidad de Chile, bajo el liderazgo de profesora por organizar este evento, y al profesor Batongbacal del Instituto de Asuntos Marítimos y Derecho del Mar de la Universidad de Filipinas por haberse unido a nosotros para compartir sus conocimientos después de la proyección del documental, a pesar de las 11 horas de diferencia horario entre Santiago y Manila. This documentary will provide essential insights to key maritime issues that are not only important to the Philippines, but also to countries such as Chile, as this is already part of international law. The sea means life for countries like the Philippines and Chile. Chile with its extensive coastline and the Philippines with its archipelagic geography. The maritime domain is integral not only to our cultures and economies, but also to our overall way of life. Pag-Asa, the documentary, depicts the complexities of the West Philippine Sea, a critical maritime domain to the Philippines and the world at large. The documentary illustrates the significance of these waters in our national well-being and underscores the multifaceted challenges currently being faced by all stakeholders involved. Furthermore, it serves as a reminder that maritime issues not only affect governments, but also affect every member of society. El 12 de julio de 2016, el Tribunal Arbitral del Mar de China Meridional emitió un laudo unánime en el que dictaminó autoritariamente que la reivindicación de derechos históricos sobre los recursos de las zonas marítimas comprendidas dentro de la línea de 9 trazos carecía de fundamento jurídico y no tenía efecto legal. El tribunal confirmó los derechos soberanos y la jurisdicción de Filipinas en su zona económica exclusiva y afirmó que determinadas acciones dentro de dicha zona violaban los derechos soberanos de Filipinas y, por lo tanto, eran ilegales. El laudo arbitral declaró que la Convención de las Naciones Unidas sobre el Derecho del Mar sustituía cualquier derecho histórico u otros derechos soberanos o jurisdicción que excedieran los límites impuestos por la Convención. El laudo arbitral también declaró que el arrecife Mischief Reef y el Bajo Second Thomas se encuentran dentro de la zona económica exclusiva y la plataforma continental de Filipinas. Both the Philippines and Chile advocate peaceful cooperation and the primacy of international law in resolving disputes. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea remains a cornerstone in ensuring that the nation's rights and responsibilities in the maritime domain are recognized and protected. The documentary also highlights the steadfast commitment of the Filipino people in defending their maritime interests, a sentiment that resonates strongly in Chile, where maritime concerns are equally significant. We are privileged to have Professor Batongbacal, a renowned expert in the field, with us today to offer deeper insights, particularly on the legal and political dimensions of maritime disputes and the importance of international cooperation. I highly encourage you to actively engage him through insightful questions during our Q&A later. Thank you, and I trust you will find the documentary and the subsequent discussion both informative and thought-provoking. I hope this event fosters greater awareness and deeper understanding of the critical maritime issues confronting both the Philippines and Chile. Pag-asa es el nombre en filipino, significa esperanza en español. Muchas gracias y buenos días.
And Director Lopez.
Thank you, Antonio. Thanks, dear Ambassador. We are really happy and very honored to have the opportunity to see this documentary and to have the comments of Professor Jai Batongbacal. This institute has a very long tradition on maritime law and on international law. I was telling to the ambassador, we have Professor Maria Teresa Infante, who is one of the judges of the Sea Court. How do you say? La Convención del Mar. So for us, it's very relevant to have these kind of discussions. Moreover, we have one of the biggest coasts, I don't know if in the world, but one of the biggest amongst all the countries in Chile. We have close to 2 million kilometers per kilometers of sea. So we also deal with this maritime law because it's very relevant. It's very important to see a documentary cinema that makes you to connect also with emotionally realities and to understand different realities and have esperanza as you, that we can build together a peaceful world. As we mentioned, we are going through very difficult moments in all the world and complex reality in multilateral issues. And the sea and the problems regarding the sea, we are just looking to have the PPG and the BBNG is here in Chile, but we are very happy that it was ratified already for many countries. So we are really looking forward to learn more about maritime law and to have our people getting more involved in these issues and more with the Philippines, because we have to be closer to the Philippines. We have a close relation with the University of Philippines. Our rector is very close to your rector, as we were saying, regarding the Asian Pacific Marine University, and we hope we can continue having this kind of relations. So I congratulate Antonio and Andres for organizing this also together, and to your wonderful team that is always really close to us organizing things. Muchas gracias, embajadora Celeste. Habla un maravilloso español, debo decirlo. No sé por qué hablamos en inglés. Las dos, pero muchísimas gracias por esta oportunidad y por la oportunidad de que además nuestros alumnos puedan ver el documental y ver también posteriormente esto, que donde normalmente en el live tenemos a muchos de ellos. Así que muchas gracias a todos los que nos acompañan en línea y al profesor Jai Batongbacal, que esperamos tenerlo en Chile. We hope you can come to Chile soon. Muchas gracias a todos y ahora con esperanza vamos a ver el documental.
Tiene subtítulos en español.
Antonio, que te esperes unos segundos porque
¿sí?
parece que hay unos estudiantes que estaban esperando.
Perfect. So we'll wait a few seconds or minutes so that more students can join us before we play this.
Ya, el Un saludo a todos que vamos a sumar a unos estudiantes del Instituto de Estudios, o sea, de la licenciatura de Estudios Internacionales.
Hola.
Hola.
Se pueden
Todos son estudiantes.
de la licenciatura.
Del piso.
No, we have someone for bachelor's degree, master's degree. We have some research assistant. Professor Juan Serrano.
Actually, last week we were studying in my class the issue of the South China Sea and the diplomatic conflict in the Philippines and mainland China, where is one of the big topics of the subject of international relations in Asia. So yeah, the Taiwan issue and the South China issue are very big.
I'm very happy to serve as a resource person.
Okay.
In our class one of these days.
Okay, thank you very much for your proposal. I will take your word.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Let's keep in touch.
He's also part of the program.
Ramona.
Si alguien no ve bien la pantalla que hable ahora o calle para siempre.
Todos se ven.
Sí. I told him to speak now or before it.
¿No se apagan las luces de la sala?
¿Y dónde se compran la herramienta?
La bandera pequeña, ¿eh? Ha faltado bandera.
Bien bonito.
This is Chinese Coast Guard.
On the Maritime.
You are inside the exclusive economic zone of the Republic of the Philippines.
March 15, 1956. Matapos ang 38 araw at daang-daang kilometrong paglalayag sa mapanghanib na karagatan, narating ng isang grupo ng mga Pilipinong mandaragat ang ilang nakabibighaning isla sa gitna ng South China Sea. Walang nakatira sa mga pulo, kundi mga ibon. At mayaman ang pangisdaan sa paligid nito. Inangkin ng mga Pilipino ang teritoryo at idiniklara sa mundo ang isang bagong tatag na bansa, ang Freedom Land. Pero hindi nagtagal ang munting bayan at tuluyan na itong naglaho. Anong nangyari?
As the core members of Chinese
Halos 7 dekada na ang nakalipas. Ngayon, lalo pang umiigting ang tensyon sa mga isla at karagatang minsang sinakop ng Freedom Land, ang West Philippine Sea at ang Spratly Islands.
This is Philippine Coast Guard vessel conducting local routine maritime patrol within the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone.
Matindi ang pangangailangan ng Pilipinas sa natural na yaman ng lugar para maiwasan ang isang nagbabadyang krisis. Pero mahigpit itong pinag-aagawa ng maraming bayan at katunggali natin ang isa sa pinakamayaman at pinakamakapangyarihang bansa sa buong mundo, ang China.
This is Chinese Coast Guard 21616.
Sinubukan kong puntahan ang pinag-aagawang mga isla
China has used civil sovereignty rights over the island.
at nasaksihan ko ang kanilang tapang.
Ito, nasa likuran na lang natin yung barko ng China.
Anong laban natin? Meron tayong natatagong alas, mga lumang mapa, at isang kasunduan na tila nalimutan na ng kasaysayan. Pamilyar kayo dito. Ito ang mapa ng Pilipinas. Ano ang una niyong mapapansin? Napapaligiran tayo ng tubig at dahil dyan, nahihiwalay tayo sa ibang mga bansa ng karagatan. Parang tingin tuloy natin ang layo natin sa kanila. Pero, iba ang sitwasyon sa lugar na ito. Mahigit 500 kilometers o 270 nautical miles mula sa Puerto Princesa, matatagpuan ang Bayan ng Kalayaan, isang munisipalidad na binubuo ng 7 maliliit na isla. Pag-asa, likas, parola, lawak, kota, patag, at panata. Nasa gitna ito ng kontrobersyal at pinag-aagawang Spratly Islands. Kumusta kaya ang buhay doon? Alamin nga natin. Nandito na tayo sa Bataraza, Palawan. Dito magsisimula ang ating paglalakbay papuntang Pag-Asa Island na sakop ng Kalayaan Municipality, ang pinakamalayong bayan sa kanlurang bahagi ng Pilipinas. Medyo malayo ang biyahe natin. Abutin daw ng isang araw mula dito. Baka mas matagal pa, depende sa lagay ng panahon. Itong dalawang barkong ito, ang BRP Sindangan at BRP Cabra, ang dalawa sa pinakamodernong barko ng Philippine Coast Guard na regular na nagpapatrol sa lugar. Pero hindi yan ang sasakyan natin. Ang Queen Seagull, ang lansyang pag-aari ng lokal na pamahalaan.
Vicencio Milan, Sir Hubert Yaban, Sir Boris Hurtado.
Minsan lang kada 2 buwan ang biyahe nito. Di gaanong komportable. Masikip, mainit, at halos walang upuan o kama. Pero ito ang aking tahanan sa loob ng mga susunod na araw. Pwesto dito.
Patras na kami? Brother, sige kami.
Si Noriflor Verdeflor ang kapitan ng lansya. Ilang dekada na raw siyang naglalayag sa West Philippine Sea.
Sa akin, bilang kapitan, wala akong parating hinihingi sa Panginoon kundi yung mapayapang paglalakbay. Kasi siyempre, dagat ito eh. Hindi natin alam yung sitwasyon. Maring kalma ngayon, mamayang hapon o bukas, iba na ang panahon.
Pero sa nakaraang mga taon, hindi lang ang kondisyon ng dagat ang kinatatakutan ni Noriflor sa tuwing sila ay bumabiyahe. Nariyan na rin daw kasi ang Chinese Coast Guard na nagpapatrolya na rin sa karagatan. Nagkukrus ba ang landas ninyo?
May experience kami dati, sir. Warship ng China. Papunta kami ng Pag-Asa. Hinarang kami. Tapos may convoy kami. Sa pagitan namin ng convoy dumaan. Napakadelikado nun. Lalo na sasakyan namin kahoy. Kahit na kami ang makasagi sa kanila, kami ang madadamage, hindi sila.
Bakit mo patuloy na ginagawa to?
Dahil siguro na rin yung pagmamahal ko na rin sa kalayaan kahit nga na mahirap ang sitwasyon. Pero siyempre, ito yung trabaho namin, ito nature ng trabaho namin. Kahit sa ganitong paraan, magawa natin yung ating yung ating obligasyon sa bayan natin.
Kung delikado bumiyahe sa umaga, lalo na magkagat ng dilim. So bandang 7:30 na, kulang-kulang 12 hours na tayong bumabiyahe. At dito sa radar, or rather doon sa GPS ng barko, alam natin na dito sa ating right side, dinadaanan na natin yung Sabina Shoal kung saan alam nating merong presence ng mga Chinese militia vessels. Medyo makikita mo yung ilaw nila sa distance pero wala kasing equipment itong lancha to be sure kung sino talaga yon. But of course, it does make you feel a little bit insecure kasi nasa gitna tayo ng karagatan, gawa sa kahoy itong barko natin. Kung may mangyaring insidente dito, wala tayong kalaban-laban. Pangalawang araw na ng aming paglalakbay papuntang Pag-Asa Island. Hindi man masyadong nakapahinga, maswerte pa rin kami dahil maganda ang lagay ng panahon. So yung nadaanan natin kanina, merong mga Vietnamese fishermen dito sa loob ng tinatawag na exclusive economic zone ng Pilipinas. Technically, hindi talaga dapat sila lumalapit, pumapasok sa EEZ based doon sa international law. Pero hindi naman natin sila may tataboy, wala tayong ganung kakayahan. Marami sa mga kasabay ko sa lancha, mga empleyado ng lokal na pamahalaan ng kalayaan. Nakakainip ang biyahe at nakakapagod ang paghihintay. Pero kinahapunan ng pangalawang araw namin sa laot, sa wakas, may natanaw na kaming isla sa di kalayuan.
So pagkatapos ng 32 oras ng biyahe, sakay nitong mabagal pero pursigidong Queen Seagull na lancha. Ito na ang Pag-Asa Island.
Nakamamangha ang ganda ng Pag-Asa. Sa biglang tingin, iisipin mong eksklusibo at mamahaling bakasyonan ito. Pero isang tanawin ang agad babasag sa ilusyon.
So ito yung westernmost point ng Pag-Asa Island. At mula sa kinatatayuan ko ngayon, nakikita ko na yung vessel ng Chinese Coast Guard. At para sa isang bisita dito sa Pag-Asa Island, medyo kakaiba yung feeling. Sabi ko nga, medyo unsettling, no? Na ganyan lang kalapit yung mga kapitbahay natin dito. Pero para sa mga taga-Pag-Asa, this is their daily reality.
Pero bakit nga ba pinagagawa ng iba't ibang bansa ang mga isla, bato, pulong buhangin, at bahurang bumubuo sa Spratlys?
Ang lugar na ito ay nasa gitna ng South China Sea, isa sa pinakamahalagang international waterway sa mundo. Dumadaan dito ang nasa $5.3 trillion ng shipborne goods taon-taon. Mahalaga siya sa ekonomiya di lamang ng Asia, kundi ng mga bansa at rehiyon gaya ng Amerika at Europa. Natural, kung sino ang may hawak ng kontrol sa lugar na ito, may malaking kapangyarihan. Para naman sa ating mga Pilipino, lalong mahalaga ang Spratlys dahil sa napakayamang pangisdaan dito. Tinatayang 12% ng global fish catch ang nanggagaling sa South China Sea, kahit na 2.5% lamang ito ng ocean surface ng mundo. Dahil yan sa maraming mga bahura na tumutuldok sa lugar na nagsisilbing pangitlugan o nursery ng mga isda. Pero hindi lang yamang dagat ang taglay ng South China Sea. Pinaniniwalaang meron din itong malaking reserba ng oil and natural gas na nasa ilalim ng dagat. Pinagnanasahan niya ng maraming bansa para patakbuhin ang kanilang ekonomiya.
Pero paano nga ba nagkaroon ng mga residente rito? Balikan natin ang Freedom Land, ang micronation na itinatag ng Filipino explorers noong 1956. Ang abogado at negosyanteng si Tomas Cloma na tubong Panglao Bohol ang nanguna sa makasaysayang ekspedisyon. Sa kabila ng pagpupunyagi ng grupo, hindi kinilala ang Freedom Land ng iba't ibang bansa, kabilang na ang Pilipinas na umaangkin din sa mga isla. Nakaranas ng panggigipit sila Cloma sa mga susunod na taon. Hanggang noong 1974, ibinenta na lang niya ang teritoryo sa Pilipinas sa halagang piso. Para lalo pang palakasin ng territorial claim ng Pilipinas sa mga isla, itinatag ng Administrasyong Marcos ang Munisipalidad ng Kalayaan noong 1978. Unti-unting lumaki ang komunidad sa Pag-Asa Island, ang tanging isla sa Kalayaan Group na may sibilyan na populasyon. Ngayon, nasa mahigit 200 na ang nakatira sa isla.
At ito sir, makikita mo yan sir, itong nasira na yan.
Pinasyal ako ng mangingisdang si Mang Larry sa kanilang munting komunidad. Dumating siya sa Pag-Asa noong 2009 bilang construction worker. At hindi na umalis mula noon.
Isa ka na ba sa pinakamatagal nang nakatira dito sa Pag-Asa Island sa kasalukuyan?
May nauna pa po sa amin, hindi lang sila tumagal, kagaya ko na tumagal ng 14 years.
Sa nakalipas na mga taon, marami na raw pinagbago sa isla.
Nung una kang dumating dito, walang kuryente.
Unang dating rito may kuryente na sir. Pero yung ano lang,
genset.
Portable lang na genset. Yun na.
Ngayon, okay na kayo ngayon?
Okay na po sir.
Problema sa kuryente.
Yan nga yung malaking pagbabago dito sa Pag-Asa, bayan ng Kalayaan Island. Mayroon na kaming kuryente 24/7. Yan yung napokor.
Ayos Tala nyo pa yung ibang lugar
Maliit lamang ang pulong ito. 37 hectares sa kabuuan. Lagpas kalahati lang ng laki ng Luneta Park sa Maynila. Pero dahil sa kahalagahan nito, meron siyang sariling paliparan na mas mahaba pa nga sa buong isla.
Actually sir, yung runway namin yan noon, damuhan. Pag umuulan, walang lalapag na eroplano kasi madulas yung runway, madulas.
Gaano kadalas ang landing ng mga eroplano dito ngayon?
Sa isang buwan, mga 3 hanggang 4 na bisis na kasi maganda na yung runway. Pwede po yung mga private plane.
Okay. Sige, dali ko yung private plane ko dito.
Pero marami mang bago, sa paligid ng isla, makikita pa rin ang bakas ng nakaraan.
Ano itong mga to?
Yan sir, yung tawag dito, bunker.
Pwede pa ba puntahan to sa loob?
Mayroong pintuan doon sa kabila yan, sir. Ayan, maluwang sa loob, sir. Oo, partisyon.
Yun. Kapal ng simento, no? Safe na safe ka dito.
Okay, 1 metro siguro ito, sir, yung kapal nito. Ilang?
Kwento ni Mang Larry, sa kabila ng pagpasok ng mga banyagang mangingisda, sagana pa rin ang karagatan sa paligid ng Pag-Asa. Pero may isang bagay raw na perwisyo sa kanilang hanap buhay ngayon.
Actually po, hindi na po kami makalapit ngayon sa kung saan doon yung mga bakuran namin, pinupuntahan namin dati. Nandoon yung mga barko ng Chinese.
Muli na namang hinarang ng ilang Chinese vessel
ang ilan nating mangingisda sa dagat malapit sa Pag-Asa Island.
Ang mga karanasan ni Mang Larry minsan na ring lumabas sa balita.
Mga barko na Chinese yan sa unahan ko lang. Inaarang nila ako, hindi ako makapasok.
Ako po yung nag-viral sa mga social media na muntik po na bangga ng barko ng Chinese. Yung barko, sa sobrang bilis, palapit na rin ang palapit sa akin. Huminto ako. Kala ko nung panahon na yun, lalampas yung barko. Ayun pala, hihinto doon sa may unahan ko, humarang na ganun. Ibig sabihin yun, ayaw na nilang papasukan talaga yung lugar na yun.
Ilang beses na ring napabalita ang pananakot at panggigipit ng mga barko ng China, di lamang dito sa Pag-Asa Island, kundi sa iba't ibang bahagi ng West Philippine Sea.
May pagkakataong halos banggain siya. Ang gusto lang sana niya makapasok sa loob ng baho de Masinloc para makapangisda.
At tila lumalala pa ang sitwasyon sa nakaraang mga buwan.
Nabidyohan ko po, nabidyohan ko.
Your vessel has entered the sea area of the Republic of China. Require you order your port to leave this sea area. Over.
Sa nakaraang mga taon, paulit-ulit ang bangayan ng Pilipinas at China sa pinag-aagawang teritoryo.
You don't live here. We will take the postman and the
Pero bakit nga ba sila nandito? Kung mahigit 1,000 kilometro ang layo ng mainland China mula sa Spratlys.
You must stop your activity and leave this sea area immediately.
Please review your chart.
Nakaangkla ang kanilang argumento sa tinatawag nilang 9-dash line. Ito yun, no? Ginuhitan nila ang malaking bahagi ng South China Sea at sinabing sila ang may karapatan at soberanya sa lugar na ito dahil matagal na raw nilang nadiskubre ang bahaging ito ng karagatan. Kasama sa inangkin ng China ang buong Spratly Islands at ang Bajo de Masinloc o Scarborough Shoal na nasa 230 kilometers o 124 nautical miles lang mula sa Zambales.
Ito ba? Ang laki!
Sa nakaraang mga dekada, dumami ang mga Navy, Coast Guard at militia vessel ng China sa buong South China Sea. Inangkin din nila ang ilang bahura at shoal at tinambakan ng mga ito para maging artificial islands. Ang Zamora o Subi Reef, 27 kilometers lang ang layo sa Pag-Asa Island. Samantalang ang Panganiban o Mischief Reef na isa ng naval at airbase ng China, 233 kilometers lang ang layo mula sa Palawan. Maraming bansa ang tumutol sa 9-dash line ng China. Kinwestiyon ito ng Pilipinas sa Permanent Court of Arbitration. At noong 2016, malaking tagumpay ang ating nakuha.
The Philippines welcomes the issuance today of the award by the Arbitral Tribunal.
Sinabi ng Arbitral Tribunal na walang basihan ang 9-dash line ng China. Ibig sabihin nito, Pilipinas ang may karapatan sa tinatawag na Exclusive Economic Zone o EEZ ng bansa o yung buong karagatan na may layong 370 kilometers o 200 nautical miles mula sa ating mga pampang. Pero hindi tinanggap ng China ang desisyon ng Arbitral Tribunal. Kung iisipin, hindi lang tungkol sa hanap buhay ang pangingisda ng mga tulad ni Mang Larry. Paraan din ito para ipaglaban ang ating karapatan.
Sa tingin ko naman talaga, atin naman talaga yung lahat ng kayamanan na sa ilalim ng tubig sa ating talaga yan dito sa lugar na ito. Lagi kung sinasama yan sa meeting namin na manatili tayong matibay sa lugar na ito.
Mahalaga raw na mapanatili ang komunidad sa Pag-Asa Island. Pero dahil sa liit ng isla at layo nito sa kabayasnan, kailangan silang suportahan ng pamahalaan. Kada buwan, May libreng 16 na kilong bigas ang bawat matanda at 6 na kilo naman para sa mga bata. Ang kuryente, 5 pesos per kilowatt hour lamang. Ang tubig, hindi man 24/7 ang serbisyo, libre naman. At alam nyo bang wala ring upa ang mga bahay rito?
At meron pang isang very cool public service ang gobyerno dito sa Pag-Asa Island. Kung mapapansin nyo, dito sa gitna ng bayan, ito na yung pinakasentro, maraming mga tao na nakapaligid, nakaupo, labas yung kanilang mga cellphone. Bakit kamo? Dahil merong free public wifi dito sa lugar na ito. Try natin, ha? Ayun, connected na ako. Galing, di ba? Talo pa yung ibang lugar sa Metro Manila. Walang internet. Dito libre.
Pero sa kabila ng mga biyaya, mas malaking sakripisyo ang manirahan sa Pag-Asa.
Labas dila.
Bagamat may mga nurse at midwife sa health center, wala naman silang doktor. Limitado rin ang kanilang pasilidad at supply ng mga gamot. Kaya ang mga may seryosong karamdaman, kailangan pang dalhin sa mga ospital sa mainland.
Nga ibon, na lumilipad.
Samantala, meron mang paaralan, 4 lang ang guro mula kinder hanggang grade 10. Iisa lang din ang classroom para sa 63 estudyante.
Good morning, students!
Si Ana Maria ang teacher ng Science at English para sa grade 7, 8, 9 at 10.
Ito po yung aming mga kinder pupils. Ito po ang aming head teacher. Siya din po yung advisor, sir, ng mga kinder hanggang grade 3 pupils po. Habang may ginagawa po yung head teacher namin, nagtuturo, sila din po may iniwang activity po para sa kanila na sasagutan po nila. Para makapunta naman sila sa ibang mga grade po.
So parang umiikot siya sa each grade.
Yes. Yes, ate.
Mahigit 1 taon nang nagtuturo sa Pag-Asa si Ana Marie.
Topic natin last week. Who can still remember our previous lesson?
Nang ialok daw sa kanya ang assignment, hindi siya nagdalawang isip.
Yung school head ko po, tumawag po siya. Niya, Ma'am Ana, sa isla ka po ma-assign at napakalayo ng biyahe. Babae ka, payag ka ba na doon ka ma-assign? Basta sinabi ko na lang po, sige po ma'am, tatanggapin ko po yung item na yan.
Ano yung mga kakaibang karanasan mo bilang teacher dito dahil sa, yun na nga, ang liit-liit ng populasyon?
Yung mga kabataan po dito, napakasipag pumasok po. Alas 6 pa lang po, may mga estudyante na po sa school. Hindi ka po mamroblema na mag-home visit pa.
Kapag nag-cutting classes sila, mahuli agad sila.
Mahuli po agad sila. Wala po sila matatakasan po dito sa isla.
Pero sandali, silipin nga natin ulit ang mapa ng Spratlys. Ang Pag-Asa Island nasa layong 508 kilometers mula sa Puerto Princesa. Lagpas na sa 370-kilometer Exclusive Economic Zone o EEZ ng bansa. Paano nating masasabing atin ang mga islang ito?
Pusisingin naman natin kung ano ba ang basihan ng Pilipinas sa ipinaglalaban nitong teritoryo sa West Philippine Sea. Mas matimbang ba talaga ang karapatan natin dito? Kailangan natin kumausap ng eksperto.
Sa Maynila, nakipagkita ako kay former Associate Justice Antonio Carpio. Isa siya sa mga nagpanalo ng kasong inihain ng Pilipinas laban sa China noon. At base sa kanyang pag-aaral, mahigpit ang kanyang paniniwala na atin din ang Spratly Islands.
We have the strongest claim, pinakamalakas yung claim natin, but we have failed to articulate it properly.
Matatagpuan sa gitna ng South China Sea ang Spratly Islands. Ipinangalan nito kay Richard Spratly, isang British captain na nadaanan ng mga isla noong 1843. Ang mga luma at opisyal na mapa ng Pilipinas ang mga resibo natin na magpapatunay na bahagi na ng ating teritoryo ang Spratlys noon pa man. Una na riyan ang Murillo Velarde map na inilathala noong 1734.
Yun ang territory talaga ng Philippines in 1734 because that's official map. And nakasama doon yung Scarborough Shoal at saka Spratlys.
Sa mapang ito, makikita ang panakot na tinatawag na ngayong Bajo de Masinloc o Scarborough Shoal. Narito rin ang Los Bajos de Paragua. Sa Ingles, The Shoals of Paragua, ang lumang pangalan ng Palawan. Ang Bajos de Paragua, Spratlys na ngayon. Sabi ni Carpio, ito ang pinakalumang mapa saan man sa mundo na nagpapakita ng mga islang ito.
Ang China kasi is a very, very old country. At no point ba in their history did they ever map out this area of the world?
Wala. All the maps of China since the beginning, since 2,000 years ago, the southernmost territory of China was Hainan in all their maps.
Ilan pang opisyal na mapa ang inilabas ng Espanya sa mga sumunod na taon, kung saan kasama pa rin ang Scarborough at Spratlys. Mahalaga yan dahil ito ang naging basihan ng Amerika nang sakupin nila tayo mula sa mga Espanyol. Noong 1898, sa Treaty of Paris, ibinenta ng Espanya ang Pilipinas sa Amerika sa halagang $20 million. Pero may problema. Hindi na isama sa formal na kasunduan ang Scarborough at Spratlys.
May treaty lines, di ba? Ang sabi ng Treaty of Paris, Spain ceded to the US everything within the lines. Ngayon, yung US, nagpirma na. Pagdating nila dito, ang dami palang isla outside the treaty lines. So, sabi ngayon ng US to Spain, dapat kasama yan. Yun ang intention eh.
Dito na pumapasok ang nalimutang kasunduan, ang Treaty of Washington.
Sabi ng US, we'll give you 50,000 more. Sabi ng Spain, malit yan eh. So, dagdagan namin 100,000. Sige, magpirmahan tayo. So, klaro, kaya ang problema, nakalimutan natin yung Treaty of Washington.
Sa international law, mahalaga ang mga opisyal na mapa at formal na kasunduan sa pagsulong ng territorial rights ng isang bansa, ang nakagugulat sa kanilang posisyon tungkol sa South China Sea, bagamat tinututulan ng China na pag-aari ng Pilipinas ang mga teritoryong naipanalo sa Arbitral Tribunal, kinilala nila ang mga kasunduan.
Bound sila niyan, kahit na they misinterpreted it.
Do you think we should pursue that claim and will we win? Saan po natin dadalhin yan?
Yeah, ang recommendation ko nga, we should challenge China, Vietnam, Malaysia to submit the territorial dispute to voluntary arbitration. So, i-challenge natin. Pag talagang believe kayo na matibay yung titulo ninyo, let's submit it to arbitration by the International Court of Justice. Handa tayo. Andiyan yung lahat ng mga dokumento natin. Now, if they refuse, that means mahina sila.
Panahon na para libutin ang teritoryong dagat ng Pag-asa. Nagpasya ang grupo na puntahan ng Sandy Cay 1, isang pulong buhangin na may lapit lang na 3.8 kilometers mula sa Pag-asa Island. Pero mukhang binabantayan ng China Coast Guard ang aming mga kilos.
Republic of China.
Plastiko. Ito ay basura from Vietnam. Drinking water. Dali na rin natin para malinisan naman ng konti.
This is China Coast Guard 5202. You have 70 feet above the sovereignty and
Habang nasa K1 kami, walang tigil ang radio challenge ng China Coast Guard.
This is Philippine Navy LMS Pag-Asa. You are within the Philippine Territorial Sea in the municipality of Kalayaan.
Kung naririnig nyo sa likod, matapos ng radio challenge ng Chinese Coast Guard na sinagot naman ng Philippine Navy, nagpatunog ng busina, ng horn, yung Coast Guard vessel sa malayo. So yung simpleng pagstay dito sa isang pulong buhangin kagaya nito ay nagpo-provoke na ng ganong klaseng reactions.
Hindi na kami nagtagal sa K1. Para pahupain ng tensyon, sinabi ng mga kasama naming Navy at Coast Guard na huwag munang ituloy ang pagpunta sa mas malayong K2.
Sanay na kami sa mga ganon. Kahit anong gawin nila na pag-intimidate sa atin, kailangan pa rin nating insist, ipakita na sa atin to.
Hindi ka naman natatakot, sir?
Ano kasi, yung takot kasi yan eh. Irrelevant na yan kung alam mo yung trabaho.
Bago bumalik ng isla, humingi ako ng ilan pang sandali sa bahura. Pero imbis na mabighani, nagulat ako sa aking nakita. Naisipan kong sumisid sa mga bahura sa paligid ng Pag-Asa Island. Nadismaya ako sa aking nakita. Patay ang karamihan sa mga corals at konti na lang din ang mga isda.
So, meron mga nangingisda rin dito sa bahura na ito. Kumustahin lang natin.
Yun, ba dami na rin Dami na. So kahit na nasira na yung ibang bahura, marami pa rin huli.
Meron pa rin, sir. Dadaingin lang to, sir. Meron pa rin. Natitira sa tira-tira ng mga Vietnamese.
Marami ba sila dito?
Meron, sir. Minsan dito nag-compressor sila paggabi. Minsan, ano to yung dilamita.
Nakakalungkot naman.
Patay na mga corals natin dito.
Ang kalusugan ng marine ecosystem sa Kalayaan Island Group ang isa sa mga inaaral ng ilang scientist na dumayo sa lugar.
Pang ilang bisita niyo na po ito sa Pag-Asa?
Mga 8 times na siguro since 1994.
Ang laking changes na siguro.
Malaking changes, When we last surveyed Pag-Asa in 2000 and then next na sinurvey namin 2017, ang laking bagsak ng coral cover. Ang laking bagsak. And hindi natin alam kung anong cause kasi ang laki ng gap
Mahalaga ang regular fieldwork para sa marine scientists, lalo na dito sa Spratlys, na isa sa pinakamayamang pangisdaan sa ating bansa. Pero hindi madali ang pagsasaliksik sa lugar na ito.
Ano po ang impact sa inyo bilang mga scientists ng ongoing geopolitical situation dito sa Spratlys?
Minsan mahirap ma-access yung areas na gusto mong puntahan. Limited yung pwede mong gawin. Mahirap makipag-collaborate sa ibang scientists from other countries. Pero I think it's worth it. The government is spending a lot trying to protect the area. But I think we should also invest in trying to know what it is that we are protecting.
May isa pang yaman ng South China Sea na pinagdanasahan ng maraming bansa. At matinding krisis daw ang mararanasan ng Pilipinas kung hindi natin ito mapapakinabangan sa lalong madaling panahon.
Inalakay po sa Senado ang pinangangambahang pagkaubos ng natural gas sa Malampaya na ginagamit sa paggawa ng kuryente.
Tinatayang sa loob ng 1 hanggang 4 na taon, mauubos na ang natural gas sa Malampaya na nagsusupply ng 35 to 40% ng kuryente sa Luzon.
Pag walang replacement, ang meaning yan, 12 to 14 hours of brownout every day sa Luzon. Talagang mawawasak yung ekonomiya natin.
Dito napapasok ang West Philippine Sea, partikular ng Reed Bank o Recto Bank. Pinaniniwalaan kasing may malaki itong supply ng natural gas 3 beses na mas malaki kumpara sa Malampaya.
Ano po ang inyong pag-estima sa nagiging strategy ng current administration when it comes to the West Philippine Sea and even our claim in the Spratlys?
Well, I was pleasantly surprised, no, na kasi during the campaign, sabi ni Bongbong when he was campaigning na talo na tayo eh. Hindi tayo manalo against China eh. When he assumed office, talagang he made a 180-degree turnaround, no? So, for me, he's saying the right thing. Everything that he has said so far is tama. But ang acid test, makukuha ba natin yung gas sa Reed Bank? Bakit ang Malaysia ginawa nila, yung Indonesia nagawa nila, hindi sila takot. Kasi kanila naman talaga eh.
Pero paano ba igigiit ng Pilipinas ang karapatan nito laban sa dambuhala at makapangyarihang bansa gaya ng China?
Well, kaya importante yung international law. Kasi international law levels the playing field. Malaking bansa ka man or maliit ka man, may karapatan ka. Hindi mo pwedeng tapatan yung People's Republic of China Navy, which is now the largest navy in the world in terms of number. Larger than the United States Navy. But ang solusyon naman natin dyan is leveraging our alliances with partners, allies, and friends.
They're also an important trading partner.
Yes, yes.
They're also an important neighbor dito sa Asia.
Yes.
How do you strike that balance? Kasi sometimes nagiging mahirap kahit na sa public perception. Parang ano ba ang China? Kaibigan ba ito o kaaway?
I think we should follow the example of other countries na may disputed with China. To a certain extent, they were able to strike a balance. Kumbaga, they were able to dichotomize between the political and the economic.
Of course, meron ding opinion na why not just embrace China altogether? And maybe magkakaroon yun ng malaking benefit sa atin economically. Kumbaga, futile ang banggain ang China dito sa rehiyon na ito.
I think, Atom, we've tried that during the last administration. That was 6 years. We've tried that position. Pero kung susumahin mo yung cost-benefit analysis, what we gained and what we lost, it did not redound much to the benefit of the country, no?
Okay, come on! No!
May isa pa kaming misyon sa Pag-asa Island. Para igiit ang soberanya ng bansa sa pinag-aagawang Sandy Cay 2 na 6 na kilometro lang ang layo mula sa Pag-asa Island, susubukan uli itong puntahan ng Navy at Coast Guard.
So ang plano raw ngayon, dahil hindi tayo pwedeng dumirekta sa Sandy Cay 2, tayo ay magsiset ng course for Sandy Cay 1. Tapos pag malapit na tayo doon sa isla, bigla tayong lilihis.
China has used sovereignty rights for the island in the South China Sea.
Nag-start na mag-radio challenge ang China Coast Guard, which is something that we expect. Mula rito, dire-diretso na lang daw ang takbo hanggang sa makaabot na tayo sa Sandy Cay 2. Ito, nasa likuran na lang natin yung barko ng China. Busina.
In accordance with international and Philippine national law, you are within the Philippine territorial sea.
Umabot kami sa mas mababaw na bahagi ng bahura. Dito, hindi na makasusunod ang malaking barko ng China.
Stop your illegal activity and leave this area immediately.
Ganito ang sitwasyon sa mga isla ng Kalayaan. Bawat pulo, bawat bato, at bawat dipa ng karagatan kailangan ipaglaban. Sa patuloy na pag-iit ng Pilipinas sa kanyang karapatan at soberanya sa rehiyong ito, mahalaga ang papel ng mga nasa unahan ng laban. Hindi lang ang mga uniformado, kundi ang mga mangingisda, teacher, medical workers, at iba pang ordinaryong mamamayan sa Pag-asa. Ang kanilang pamamalagi dito, sa kabila ng mga pagsubok, isang uri ng paninindigan.
Tingin mo ba dito ka natatanda?
Habang kaya pa po ng katawan natin na mag-i-stay muna tayo dito. Hindi naman pwede tayong hanggang mamatay tayo dito sa Kalayaan Island. Walang sementeryo.
Thank you. After watching this documentary, we now open the floor for a discussion to explore the issues raised in the film.
Can we have Professor G?
Professor J, can you listen us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me fine?
That's a short presentation.
Yes. Okay.
Sí.
Mañana. ¿Qué hora es en Filipinas? Thank you, Professor.
A las 11.
So we know that for you it's late, you know. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, much obliged. Thank you. Can I start now?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Yeah. Okay. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and all genders. I would like to thank the Embassy of the Philippines there in Santiago, Chile, for inviting me to speak briefly to you today on something that has dominated my professional career for more than 25 years now. Of course, what I say will not be an official statement or position on the part of any office of the government, but speaking as an academic, I hope that I can help shed light on the issues surrounding what you've just viewed today. Now, next slide, please. The Philippines is a maritime and archipelagic nation. It is comprised of both lands and seas. You may have noticed from the documentary how our poor fishing communities in their bangkas or their traditional wooden outrigger boats with minimal equipment can take to the seas. For many of our coastal communities, this is just part of their ordinary lives. And to live and work on land and sea is a hallmark of our maritime and archipelagic character. Our connection to the sea also indicates our connection to the world. After all, the next slide, our seas are also part of one global ocean. We may be living in only a small part of it, but we also recognize that our ability to access the sea and its resources depend not only on our own isolated efforts, not only on us alone, but also on the cooperation and assistance of other seafaring nations and the rest of the world. It is for this reason that the Philippines has historically placed enormous value on the establishment of a legal order for the oceans. We invested much effort in participating in negotiations for the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea because of our inherent and instinctive desire for a mutual and common effort to ensure that we all benefit from these global commons. Okay. Next slide, please. The law of the sea is the common international legal framework for the management of the oceans within and beyond national jurisdiction. As the product of over 30 years of negotiations and a major achievement in the progressive development of international law, the law of the sea now spans 4 global multilateral conventions that codify the legal foundations of ocean governance. Next slide, please.
UNCLOS is a comprehensive set of rules that cover quite a lot of ground. Not only does it describe the starting points for the exercise of state powers and authorities over the seas, it also lays down basic rules for the most fundamental marine resource activities such as shipping, fishing, and offshore energy exploration. It also creates obligations for the protection of the marine environment, the conduct of marine scientific research, and the transfer of marine science and technology, as well as resort to peaceful modes of dispute settlement. For the Philippines especially, at the next slide, international cooperation plays a key role to ensuring that our seas and inter-island waters do not suffer the tragedy of the commons. Historical use and access to our waters by foreign vessels pose the greatest challenge for unless the international community cooperates with our governance of the seas through cooperation under the rule of law, we will be unable to properly manage our waters and secure our national interests for the benefit of our people. And these interests are quite varied. Next slide, please. Our national maritime interests are quite significant. The country's food security, as you see in the next slide, is integrally linked with its environmental security on account of the rich marine ecosystems that sustain our marine fisheries. Oh, sorry, the previous one, the bluish one. The West Philippine Sea hosts 30% of our coral reef inventory and is biologically linked to the sustainability of our inter-island waters. Economic sectors such as fisheries and tourism are dependent on the sustainability of our marine resources. Okay, the next slide. Our trade and economic security is likewise directly dependent on our seas. Our domestic shipping trade is what keeps our country together as one political economic unit. Our international trade, coursing through our inter-island waters in the West Philippine Sea and then on to East Asian seas, can be maintained only through the freedoms of the seas that are guaranteed now by international law. Next slide, please. Even our connection to the rest of the world by air depends on our free access to the West Philippine Sea and beyond. Without it, we could be easily isolated from the rest of East Asia. Next slide. Our future energy security is also linked to the recognition and respect for our legal rights and entitlements to the natural resources within 200 nautical miles from our coast, as agreed upon in UNCLOS. To date, our most likely sources of future indigenous petroleum resources remain to be in the West Philippine Sea, but we have been unable to explore our waters on account of competing claims. Next slide. Now, our digital connectivity also depends on this area. Without guarantees of access, our country cannot connect to the global internet. Our economy will be unable to engage in transactions beyond our shores, and our society will be isolated from the rest of the world. Next. And our future heritage remains hidden, waiting to be uncovered and tapped. Ocean energy resources, seabed minerals, genetic resources, these could all hold the key for our people's future prosperity, yet they are locked beneath the waves, whether to our local communities and local governments or to our national government agencies. Next slide. It was for these reasons that the Philippines dared to challenge the People's Republic of China before an arbitral tribunal constituted in accordance with the provisions of UNCLOS. In 2016, the Philippines was successful in challenging the validity of China's excessive expansive claim to the entire South China Sea. The South China Sea, for reference, contains an area 5 times that of Chile's landmass. And from north to south, it is about 70% the length of Chile itself. The PRC claims it all on the basis of some kind of preemptive ancient title that cannot be substantiated and which no country recognizes, and which was never actually and officially stated until the 2010s. The award therefore vindicated the Philippines' rights under UNCLOS to its full 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, a concept that developing countries proposed in the 1970s to shield themselves against the exploitation by distant water fishing nations and maritime powers. At the time, China joined with the group of 77 developing nations to forge agreement. But now that China is itself a major maritime power, it chooses to turn its back on these agreements and demand deference to its needs on the ground of nothing more than sheer power. On account of the tribunal's findings, the area of dispute has been greatly reduced to only the territorial claims on each island and rock in the South China Sea. One of those, the second largest, is Pag-Asa Island, which was the central feature in the documentary you just viewed. Next slide, please. With the vindication in our hands, the Philippines proceeded to enact legislation to implement it. Republic Act number 12064, sorry for the typo there on the slide, It's 12064. The Philippine Maritime Zone Act harmonizes our domestic law with UNCLOS, establishing our maritime zones, clarifying the exercise of sovereignty and jurisdictions in each one, and specifying the rights and duties of foreign ships and aircraft within those zones. It also underscores that the rights and obligations are recognized on the basis and expectation of reciprocity and mutual respect from other states to ensure fair dealing and good faith. With the maritime zones, we can proceed to more clearly define the areas of our sovereignty and jurisdiction. In the next slide. A comparison with the land territory again emphasizes the predominantly maritime nature of our archipelago. Our land area is less than 300,000 square kilometers compared to the sea areas of up to 2.2 million square kilometers. Unfortunately, the People's Republic of China has not taken kindly to our attempt to have the dispute settled in accordance with international law. So that's in the next slide. Instead, it has even more strongly and unilaterally asserted its invalidated claim, imposing itself upon our seas by deploying its military, law enforcement, and maritime militia vessels, in addition to its thousands of fishing vessels. It created the largest artificial islands in the world and turned them into 3 large military bases with naval ports and airstrips, all armed already. It has deployed its vessels to more aggressively constrain and coerce Philippine government and private ships from undertaking peaceful, legitimate resource activities and force them out of the West Philippine Sea. Next slide. From 2022 to 2024 particularly, it deliberately engaged in increasingly aggressive maneuvers against our fisheries and Coast Guard vessels, ramming them and attacking them with high-pressure water cannons that can even bend steel. This escalation is intended to make it extremely risky and dangerous for our people to operate in the West Philippine Sea, which is the term we use to refer generally to our EEZ. Next slide. Last year, on June 17, 2024, tensions peaked when 8 China Coast Guard vessels attacked 2 Philippine Navy vessels and their crews, resulting in injuries and damage. This reckless and violent attack could have sparked hostilities were it not for the discipline and restraint on the Philippine side. We took the beating, but we did not start a war. We are not the aggressors here. Next slide. Just last month, can you run the video there? Just last month, August 11. Yeah. Okay. Tensions again reached a high point on account of China's dangerous actions. As the China Coast Guard and People's Liberation Army Navy tried to ram a lone, smaller Philippine Coast Guard vessel, the reckless and dangerous maneuvers instead resulted in the China Coast Guard colliding with deadly results against the PLA Navy ship. The entire bow of the CCG vessel was flattened, and some of its crew likely killed, but certainly many injured. The Philippine Coast Guard vessel stopped and offered assistance, but the PLA Navy vessel instead continued to try to chase it and ram it. Maybe I can show the video later through share screen. So our last slide, the Philippines is indeed facing difficult odds, but we intend to push ahead and defend our legal rights and entitlements. We are a maritime and archipelagic nation with inherent, extensive, and legitimate maritime interests. These are being challenged and threatened by another state, a much more powerful and continental state at that, through unilateral and increasingly unlawful and coercive actions. As a smaller power, the Philippines relies upon international law, particularly UNCLOS, to protect its local maritime rights and entitlements, no more, no less. We continue to have faith that the international community would support our cause and help maintain our rights and entitlements under UNCLOS. It may seem like a long and difficult path before us, but we have one thing that will keep us fighting against the odds. We have hope, which in Filipino is Pag-Asa. Muchas gracias por la atención, and thank you. That will be the end of the presentation.
We now open the floor for a discussion. We are honored to have with us Professor Batongbacal, a leading scholar in maritime law and policy. The idea right now is just to write some questions and then we can continue the discussion.
I have a question for Professor Jai. Thank you very much for this very informative presentation. We discussed this topic in our classes, in our teaching in the bachelor degree and master degrees with this here in Universidad de Chile. So this is a real good opportunity to go deeper in the topic, legal international law point of view. So I have like one question. As you say yourself, these clashes, this this episode of now the ships clashes between the Chinese Coastal Guard and Philippine vessels, it will be civil or official ones. They are increasing in number, right? These classes happen more and more often. So, do you have any record of the number of fatal casualties that these classes have provoked, the number of deaths in the Filipino citizens? And there is any legal actions against these episodes, like some kind of to sue the Chinese embassy for civil compensation for these clashes, these deaths? And also, I want to ask you, this is more like a factual question. As you show in a very clear manner in the presentation, the Chinese Coastal Guard, they use like non-lethal weapons, let's say. I mean, maybe it's not the right expression, but they use axes, knives, rocks, etc. There is any gunshot happened yet?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the question. I'll go through them just one by one. With respect to statistics, numbers of casualties, deaths, etc. We have some statistics with respect to the number of incidents and dangerous maneuvers and interactions, definitely, because after all, each incident is recorded and reported. And well, I don't have them on hand, but very often in conferences we have here, very regularly on events in the West Philippine Sea, one of the Navy or Coast Guard personnel will always come up with a slide with the latest statistics. The thing is, it's like it's every year they collect new numbers and statistics on these incidents, particularly with respect to the more dangerous ones. As for casualties, thankfully there have not yet been any reported casualties on the Philippine side, although there has been a number of damage incidents, so like the ramming incidents. That has actually become more common only in the last year, in fact. Before it was just they would keep their distance, but lately they have loosened all those restraints and have resorted to really damaging our vessels. So with respect to that latest incident last month, the casualties are on the Chinese side, and they have been definitely not forthcoming about the incident. In fact, they do not even want to reveal that incident probably to their own people. So there has been no news at all from their side on deaths and injuries. The information we have actually comes from, shall we say, intermediaries, which indicate at least 2, possibly 3 deaths and many injuries, particularly head injuries requiring hospitalization, because you had a vessel running at full speed, ramming and coming full stop against another larger vessel. So definitely there were injuries there. Do we have plans to sue for these clashes and damages? Well, that has been discussed quite a few times already, internally, I think within government and also in an academic sense. One challenge we have, however, is the fact that these interactions are taking place most of the time with Chinese government vessels. So you have the factors of sovereign immunity and this being international relations, you have that also coming in. But definitely there have been people who have been studying how to possibly bring these issues before a tribunal. Also, well, not just third-party dispute settlement, but even also what you call this, even mediation and conciliation have also been looked at as possible options. The problem, however, is that the other side is simply not signaling any openness to any of these options. It insists only on bilateral negotiations, which in our experience has not really been very useful or substantial or fruitful for us, especially in the last 2 decades. As to the use of weapons, there have not yet been any reports of actual gunfire, but the closest has been threatening with them. No? So we've seen videos of the other side, for example, uncovering their cannons and moving them in the direction of our vessels. I've seen one video where machine guns were being trained on a Philippine fisheries vessel, but there have been no gunfire yet. No, and also there was one incident where the fire control director was aimed at one of the Philippine Navy vessels, but that was it. These are basically threatening moves, but it has not yet reached that point where actual fire has taken place.
Professor Jay, is there a way you can share the video that I see earlier?
Yes. Let me just.
Almost.
Okay. Okay. Let me share screen.
Participantes.
Sí.
Okay. Here. You can see it.
Yeah.
So this is the incident just last month, 11 August.
But that's the Navy, right? That's not the coast.
Yes. We're on board the Philippine Coast Guard vessel, and it was being chased by a Chinese Coast Guard vessel. And this Chinese Navy vessel then also tried to cut across the Philippine Navy vessel, but it missed. And so the Chinese Coast Guard vessel that you see there now, it rammed the Chinese Navy vessel. So it lost its entire bow. That's how strong the impact was. Say that again. Oh, so that is the China Coast Guard vessel almost hitting, and then suddenly the Chinese Navy vessel is in between them. So very, very dangerous situation there. Just a few more feet, and that Chinese Navy vessel could have possibly cut the Philippine Coast Guard vessel in half. Mm-hmm. Okay.
There is no question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Professor Ye. It was wonderful and amazing to know another point of view as I study in Taiwan. As you know, I know another story related with this Spratly Island and this Esperanza Island also. And I would like to visit the island because everything is free. So thank you so much for that. And my question is, what is the kind of strategy that you implement in order to protect the border? Because we can see your video and the last one, you have here different between China and the Philippines. So what kind of strategy you are implementing or plan to protect the border in order to go ahead in advance, not in the moment or after the China invade your territory. Thank you so much.
Maybe we can do more and then okay. There is. I have a question. So and then please you go first.
You can start.
Okay. So you know, right now, Professor, we are part of like a transitional order of the international order. So in this context, in a period of transition for the international order, and also we can identify like a weakening of multilateral framework. So under this framework, how can maritime dispute be effectively addressed? So which kind of a strategy you can implement during this period? Because it's like a transitional and not the big power or the great power follow the rules or on this kind of contested scenario. And the last one?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it was pretty interesting, especially as a student. We normally study the theory of this kind of geopolitical issues, and seeing like the perspective of people that is actually living these kind of things is like pretty interesting for us. My question is about your conclusions. You said that Philippines is relying on the international community to solve, like not solve, but to this problem to get kind of, I don't know, arbitration. Yeah, but nowadays the international system is pretty chaotic in many aspects. So relying on the international law is kind of, it will be delayed, like an answer for this matter. It has already been delayed a lot. And I'm wondering if the Philippine government has some kind of strategy or wisdom they can use for China to don't make a real, like, well, a more critical attack as they have done already.
Thank you for the question, and please, Professor.
Yes, thank you, thank you. With respect, actually, the first and the last questions about strategy that the Philippines is pursuing. Well, generally, first of all, as I mentioned, the Philippines being one of the smaller countries in this region, really has to pin its hope on a stable and equitable international order. So that's why the pursuit of the rule of law and the advocacy for UNCLOS and the existing international agreements is really central to that. No, we are quite concerned as well about, yes, the current trends in the international order where it is sought to be changed. No, countries are actively trying to undermine it and perhaps replace it with a different one. We're quite aware of that, and for us, I think generally the Philippines has more or less trying to defend the existing international order, the one that has been established where all nation states are legally equal to each other. They have the one nation, one vote, and they work through international agreements. No, they solve problems through mutual fair agreements. That is the kind of order that we thought was represented by the United Nations when the countries of the world embarked on it after the Second World War. It is the order that I think smaller countries can have a chance, really. And because of that, no, the potential replacement, no, as we see it, no, is not attractive, shall we say? Because of as we see it, if the current international order were to be replaced, no, and multilateralism will be shoved aside, international agreements will have little or no value. Well, the alternative to that will be an international community which is ruled simply by power. And in a system like that, definitely the countries with less power will be at a huge disadvantage. They will always be dominated by those with more power. Their interests will always be subordinated to the more powerful. So that definitely is not the kind of order that we want to see emerge. So that's why the advocacy for UNCLOS and the rule of law really is a defense of the existing one. The existing one has quite a lot of problems as is, no? But it also contains the mechanisms for resolving those problems, no? If only countries will pursue them in accordance with the agreements, no, that they have already made. We would like to think that maintaining the idealism, shall we say, is the better choice rather than forcing countries to simply bow down to the powerful. Let's see. So, with respect to the second question, the management of maritime disputes in the current order, which seems to be in flux or transitioning and changing. Yes, that is indeed a very tough question because it's not just maritime disputes, but all kinds of interstate disputes basically are now undergoing, are being sort of challenged, no, by the fluctuations now and the changes that are taking place. They are indeed very concerning, but I think what is needed really is for smaller and middle powers to come together, no, and try to defend, no, the current the existing international order, and try to prevent radical changes that the more powerful countries such as China, such as the United States, are trying to now impose on it, no? We need to be able to keep working on the community building that we embarked on essentially after the Second World War, and really try hard to make it succeed, because a failure really will mean that we will go back to the pre-19th century kind of system, perhaps, where wars are legitimate instruments of national power, and the pursuit of national interest can be justified by the means, no? The ends are justified by the means. So I think that is not something that we would like to see come into being again.
Just add to,
Yes, please.
May I just add to what Professor Jay has said? The Philippines adheres to the peaceful resolution of disputes and adheres to the primacy of international law, especially in resolving disputes. For us, right is might, not the other way around. So in handling our disputes with China, we continue to employ diplomatic means. We continue to have diplomatic relations with China, and we are still talking. As a matter of fact, we continue to have an embassy and several consulates general in China. We both participate in multilateral fora, so we can continue to engage each other in addition to bilateral means. At the same time, we are investing in our own capability, the capability of our armed forces, and we file diplomatic protests whenever China undertakes actions which, in our view, is contrary to international law. So there are really many ways to address it, but we are counting on the support of the international community, including countries like Chile, which have a similar perspective in the sense that Chile also advocates the primacy of international law and believes in multilateralism as a way to address challenges of the world, especially peaceful settlement of disputes under international law. FYI, China is also a signatory to the UNCLOS.
Doesn't ratify it, right?
I will have to check, but it's a signatory to the UNCLOS. It's the US that has not ratified. its accession to the UNCLOS.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, and thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Professor Jay. I would like to ask us, all of us, to take a picture with Professor Jay on the screen, so that we could take place close to the screen. And everyone, please, thank you. Afterwards, we could take a picture on the patio and bring the refreshments outside.
Una más. 1, 2, 3. Gracias.
Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome.
Congrats. Thank you very much.
Very clever.
Yeah, he's very much an expert on this.
Thank you din po. Welcome.
Also,
Good job.
thank you. We also have this feedback form here for the embassy. They would be very happy if you could fill it. It would like no more than 2 minutes. Thank you very much, and please have some food before you leave. Also, we invite you to the patio if you want to have a chat maybe with the embassy. I don't know.
Why don't we have a photo outside?
Let's do that.
Okay.